What's up, guys? Cody Marchant from Poofnewsales.com, and today we got a special guest, Kyle Broussard, the co-founder of Poofnewsales. Today we are starting our new series where we, talk to people that are involved in the hiring process. Obviously, Kyle runs a business, so he has employees. We're not going to be talking to him in that fashion today. We're going to be talking to him as Kyle Broussard, the recruiter, because before he hopped over here from Poofnewsales, he was a recruiter at Lightworkers. So Kyle, can you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit? Let me know what you did at Lightworkers and just tell everybody who you are.
Cool. Awesome. So what's up, Cody? What's up, guys? My name's Kyle Broussard. As Cody said, I'm his business partner at Poofnewsales. We do content marketing, but prior to that, I was in the recruiting field for a little while, probably just about a year. I worked for Lightworkers, as Cody said, and we were essentially a software / tech / HR hiring company. So we kind of got a broad spectrum of things. And I guess, Cody's got some really cool questions for me to kind of dive into it and give people, on the hiring side, looking for, jobs after coming out of college or after education, good idea of where to start and what to look for.
Yeah, so that's really what we're trying to do here in this series is we're looking to help people that are, looking to get in the workforce, whether it's, you just came out of college, you just came out of high school, you're looking to switch careers, whatever it is, we're trying to give you an edge on, what do employers actually look for? What do recruiters look for when they're trying to help fill jobs at other businesses? And so that's why I'm trying to interview people like Kyle, who is a recruiter, when his entire job was to find people that actually fit the criteria and what businesses were actually looking for. Because there's always this gap of, they want you to learn this, this, and this. You learn this and this in school, but companies actually aren't even looking for that. So we're trying to talk to people that know exactly what companies actually are looking for, and we're trying to make sure you're properly prepared, if you're trying to apply a job or, especially with Kyle, we're trying to see if recruiters are helpful to you. That's the one thing I want to start out right off the bat, Kyle. Like, if I was trying to get a job right now, should I just start applying at places? Should I look for recruiters that have these relationships with businesses that are hiring? What would be my first step?
Yeah, great question. I think honestly, it really depends on your approach. If you're trying to get a really, kind of in-depth high-tech job that's a little bit past, entry level, that's really going to give you the skills and kind of the foundation to move on, maybe in a super competitive company or in a really competitive field, I think seeking out a recruiter is something you absolutely should do. But you should always applying to jobs no matter what, because a lot of times that's how recruiters end up finding people. So one thing I could say, I was recruiting really, really hard and in the trenches. Obviously, LinkedIn was huge. That's probably the biggest way you're going to get noticed or ever interact with a recruiter. But the other biggest way was Indeed.com. And if you're constantly updating your resume and you know how to format a resume well, right there, that's going to let so many people who are recruiters, who are business owners, who are hiring managers, vice presidents, et cetera, anybody who's going to be looking at your resume to find it. So that would be my biggest tip as far as getting found by recruiters. But as far, to tone it back down to, should you look for a recruiter? I don't think you should spend time necessarily looking for one. But if a recruiter, comes across, don't be the guy who opens the door just to say, yeah, I'm not interested, and slams in their face. Dude, someone took time out of their day. Working in recruiting is not hard. If you've ever had a commission job, it sucks. You're working on commission. And you know what, dude, at the end of the day, most of the time, they're not just calling anybody. That's a waste of my time as a recruiter. I look through hundreds of thousands of resumes to call, maybe 1,000 people. You're qualified for whatever job they're calling you for right off the bat. Why not hear them out, listen to it? Sure, it might cost you a little bit of what you could have made the first year, but if it's worth to jump into an industry you're trying to get into at a competitive position, et cetera, it's worth at least hearing them out, I would say, for sure.
All right, that makes sense. Obviously the first thing that makes me want to ask is, what should be in your resume? Because like you said, the first thing that you're looking for on Indeed, on LinkedIn, you're not even calling people unless you're interested in their resume or what they have. is there certain like titles that you're searching on LinkedIn when trying to find people? Like, take me through the day of a recruiter. Like, say you're going into your job, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. What are you looking for right away?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. I think the funniest thing to me about resumes is right, they're supposed to be a summary. That's it. They're supposed to be no longer than one page. Like, I mean, unless you have like 20 plus years of experience in something and you're applying for like a freaking VP job, you should never, ever, 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 ever in a million years have a resume that's longer than one page. And I think that's the funniest thing to me is like you have people coming straight out of college giving you a 3-page resume and you're like, dude, that's not making it past like the top of the funnel. Like the whole idea, you've probably heard this bit, I'm not going to get into it, but resumes basically go through a funnel, especially if you're applying to the bigger the company, the more competitive the position, the bigger the funnel, right? So you got maybe 50,000 resumes coming in, probably right off the bat, at least 25,000 of them don't even make it to someone's desk after that because they don't have, like, they're putting them through a computer that's telling them, do they have these key terms? They don't. Word, you're out of here. And as a recruiter, that's exactly what I would do is, okay, I'm looking for someone who has, skills building back end, database stuff. Cool. The company works in SQL, this is just technical stuff. But again, at any job, there's going to be these technical things that in skill sets they need you to have. If they don't find that in your resume and your resume is somewhere online and they can't literally command F and type in a word and find it on your resume, you are literally not getting past the gate. Like you're not getting a phone call, you're not getting an email, you're done. You've got to apply again now. So that would be the biggest thing is like just the formatting of your resume. Like you only have one page to basically tell a company why they should hire you or why they should consider hiring you and give you to the next stage. Make every page count. Like, we're in content marketing, right, Cody? Like keyword stuffing, they say, yeah, you should keyword stuff. You should only keyword stuff your resume, basically. That's how I would put it. There shouldn't be a word that isn't stuff.
That makes sense because like you said, but which actually leads me great into the next question because I want to know, specifically you're typing in certain keywords on LinkedIn, on Indeed to basically sort out who you're trying to talk to. But where do you get those keywords? Like when you're a recruiter, right, and you work with a client, are they giving you like some overhead, like Word document or whatever that says, hey, look, this is exactly what I'm looking for? Or do they kind of be like, hey, this is the position, and then you kind of got to ask them certain questions that be like, hey, I know that you want this position filled, but is this technology important to you? Like, do you have to ask certain questions, or do they kind of come to you with a perfectly laid out, like, what they want?
Yeah, so as a recruiter, you're typically literally just firing, finding people to talk to. But your boss, the person who's in charge of basically giving you jobs and making sure I, as a recruiter, know what's going on and know what I should be looking for, ask those in-depth questions of hiring managers. So they're speaking to, directors, project managers, VPs, those sort of people, CEOs, CTOs, those sort of people. So if you are, realistically, the recruiter has, the same understanding, has to have just as good of an understanding of what the CEO is looking for as the CEO does. So pretty much when it comes down to it, you're given like a job description. And then what I would try to do is either speak to my manager or my boss, or also either get directly on the phone with the hiring manager, the person who gave me the resume, to get more details, because just what they list isn't enough. Like I need, especially the more specific the role is, the more in-depth the role is, everything's going to be. So the recruiter needs to get that basically bulleted list of all these technologies, all these things, but then they need to speak to the hiring manager as well to really understand, okay, but they have these skills, but what other capacities, like, what problem solving skills, that sort of thing. So a big part of talking with someone who is a recruiter on the phone is really understanding that, they do know what they're talking about, and they do understand what your job will entail at this company, and you need to impress them just as much as you impress a hiring manager, because if you don't, again, they're part of the funnel. As a recruiter, I don't want to refer you if I don't think you're good for the job. That looks bad on me, looks bad on my company. It wastes my time, So again, you got to understand that the recruiter knows what they're talking about, and they're a key to getting to the next step. So, that being said, yeah, there's really technical things they're looking for. A lot of jobs nowadays are just looking for communication skills. I mean, you know, we live in an age where everybody's on a phone all the time. I've had so many people go in for jobs that just literally couldn't have a conversation with the hiring manager and translate, yes, I can do this, but let me show you how, and talk about problems I've solved and situations I've been involved in and projects I've done that actually display my skill in this. And a lot of people just couldn't do that. Like they could have, you know, they could be Wayne Gretzky on paper, but get in there, you know, and just not be able to talk like they can walk. It's crazy.
That makes sense. Stepping back real quick, I kind of want to, I don't even know if we went over it. Specifically, when you were at Lightworkers recruiting, is there a certain type of industry that you worked with where you only trying to recruit maybe doctors, for example? Like, who are you trying to talk to, or did you kind of work with any business looking to hire any role in the company? Because even one business can be hiring, you know, an HR person, IT guy, a software engineer, a marketer. Like, each, do you work with a certain type of company or a certain type of department within whatever company?
Right. I would say, honestly, it all depends on the, like, recruiting is really competitive. So, you know, the bigger the recruiting firm, I would say probably the higher likelihood they have of either A, specializing in one very specific thing, or B, being a solution for very large enterprise companies like that, that can hire A to Z all around the board. So that being said, it really all depends on the type of marketing agency, recruiting agency that they work for. So yeah, that's kind of difficult. Also, I would think that the speciality has a degree of it too. So for instance, if you're hiring HR people, let's be honest, it's not as complicated as hiring someone who is a neuroscientist, right? So like the degree of specialization within the field also gives that some variance to it. So it's kind of hard to answer that question, I suppose, you know, because every recruiting firm's different.
Well, what about you specifically, like working at Lightworkers? Did you have a specialization?
Yeah, absolutely. So I worked strictly with people who were either in healthcare, IT, or who were software engineers. So my job was basically, you know, what we would typically get is just a vast list of jobs from one specific company in maybe their health IT department. So they might have 15 departments. We would just handle the one department of health IT or the one department of software engineering within their company for hiring.
And so basically, so that means that no matter what company you're working with, you're kind of talking to the same type of people as far as recruits. So is there any time where, you know, you would have a job description and you type in one of your keywords on LinkedIn or Indeed,